At least the lake's not cold this morning. But that's the old paddle boat there that they salvaged and put here on display. I go very slow. Hokitika with me today. Hokitika comes from Romania originally, but she's out here in New Zealand now and married to my brother-in-law John Johnson. And Hokitika likes to come out and go on adventures with her brother-in-law Alvin, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is her first time on a jet ski.
Yes.
But she's keen to try anything new, so that's marvellous. So where we are now is the inlet to Lake Mahinapua here. Originally the Hokitika River comes from way up in those mountains there and flows around way around the back like that. But in times of high flood in the past, the Hokitika River used to come through here, this area called Mirror Creek, and keep the lake much cleaner and clearer. Earthworks up there in the headwaters around the farms in Hokitika have stopped the floodwater coming this way now, so the lake is an ideal environment for wildlife, fish, whitebait and tourism. Mahinapua was formed by a glacial ice sheet coming out towards the coast, and if you can imagine, that hill that we can see there is the terminal moraine. So the ice sheet where we are now came out to there, stopped there, and all the alluvial rocks and boulders and everything stopped there. So that holds the lake from joining the coast. I can hear the sea out there now, the waves and things, so that's just beyond there out to the coastline there called the Tasman Sea. Years ago, before the railway was between Hokitika and a little town called Ross south there, the early pioneers used a water transport to move goods and passengers between Hokitika in the north down to... So this is the southern arm of Lake Mahinapua here. Years ago, the paddle steamers came up from Hokitika, up the Mahinapua Creek, into Lake Mahinapua, and came to this area here where there would have been a jetty or something. The passengers and the goods were taken across that little ridge there over the moraine and entered the Totra Lagoon, where another boat would have taken them way on down to Ross, another 20 kilometres further south. There it is. So Hokitika has a big white heron that comes to feed at her house. What do you feed it, Hokitika?
I go from market. There's meat for pet.
Pet food, yes, it likes that.
And another don't like, only fish.
Yes.
And this.
Yeah.
Salami or no, don't eat.
No? So it might sit here if we go a little bit closer to it. It might let us have a look. Now she's away. So he's sitting up a miro tree here, quite comfortably. In the distance there you can see the treetop walkway. That's it, the tower to look across to Lake Mahinapua there. They've got it so that you walk along the top of the trees here, through the rimus, the miros and the kahikatias. You can see the walkway through the back here, through the trees. That's a recent attraction here on the west coast and proving very popular with tourists to help them come and see nature at its very best in New Zealand. Alright Hokitika, let's go on down here and we'll see what we can see. So this area here is the outlet to the lake, and the water drains through a small creek called the Mahinapua Creek down to Hokitika there. If I had an outboard engine, I'd be able to go through there and find my way through there, but with the jet engine, the chances of getting weed sucked into the jet unit is quite high, so we won't do that. So the paddle boat would have come on up this thing called the Mahinapua Creek here into the lake and worked its way right along here through to either the jetty here at Mahinapua where the hotel is, or further on up to the port further on in Mirror Creek where the people would get off and the luggage would be transposed onto another ferry or to take them on down to Ross. This area here is called Swimmers Beach or Shanghai Bay. There's a couple of batches there and a Girl Guides camp was in there. But many years ago when the paddle steamer was going, this was a depot here where maybe the owner lived, Macintosh as I understand, and they run the old paddle boat steamer ashore here, and it lay there many years derelict. It became redundant when the Ross Hokitika railway line went through, so people didn't use waterways to get from north to south. So it lay there in the scrub rusting away until it was finally salvaged and taken down here and put on display at the boat ramp down further. To understand that there was a market gardens here where Chinese had market gardens here supplying vegetables to the passing traffic, and hence the name Shanghai Bay. There was Shanghai Road, Shanghai Bay, Shanghai everything else. And that's part of the history of the Chinese being in this area as well. Going good, Hokitika. Hey. Good. That's the idea. Now over that point, that's it. Give it to her. Pull hard. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Okay, you've done very well. So you tuck your hands in there and I'll take you in now, okay?
Go now.
Well, you want to do home?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a story about the boat.
Okay,
Yeah. You've done a very good job.
I thank you very much.
Mm.
It was a very nice
You're a good film star.
very nice experience.
Yeah. The Lake Mahinapua steamer. From the late 1860s, many gold rushes occurred in Westland. Thousands of hopeful diggers arrived to seek their fortune. No formed roads and difficult sea access to many of the goldfields resulted in a variety of transport being used. Hokitika became an important supply and commercial centre for the district, largely because shipping could use the Bar Harbour. Gold was discovered in Ross in 1864. The major rush began which was to last for many years. An almost continuous inland waterway existed between Ross and Hokitika, and shipping services were developed to operate the Mahinapua Creek and the lake and the Totara Lagoon. Short sections of dray road linked the two, and a small settlement, the lagoon town, developed near the present site of Ruatapu. 2 paddle steamers were built in Hokitika in 1867, and much of the steam equipment fitted to these vessels have been salvaged from shipwrecks. So they are flat bottom punts with a boiler in the front here, wide draft so that they could go in very shallow water. Any produce and that would be in the cargo down in the hold there. This winch here would have been part of a derrick to load and unload goods. A manual wind here to wind the winch, and the steam here. This is the paddle steel itself at the rear, chug 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 all the way up the lake. So this is a tried and proven method. Rather than have the wheels on the side like other paddle boats, these are at the rear there for the narrow waterways. So it was a cam arrangement. This was the where the cam was hooked onto here, over this, and this piston going backwards and forwards like so drove that paddle steel. Wouldn't have been very fast, but enough to turn that wheel there to get some progress up the waterway. And there's the steering mechanism there. You stand in the centre and move it that way, and that moves both rudders left and right. So it's manual steering, and the captain would have kept her on course.